if a man tells you to do something, and maybe he doesn't want to hear you complaining. He doesn't want to hear you fight back. And I'm not saying do something.
I'm getting
I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying it like a misogynistic way. Test 1, 2, 3.
Louder.
That's fine. Raise you up, whatever. So, all right, welcome. Episode 4 of Games of Amore, where we explore romantic stories and the games we all play and love. I'm your host, Caesar, joined today by our guest host, the girl from Warsaw, the lovely Magdalena.
Hi.
And today we're speaking to Abel, the man who is able.
There we go.
Man who's always able and capable.
There you go.
All right, how you doing, sir?
Good. How's it going? Happy to be here. Exciting. Episode 4.
Episode 4, yes. All right. So, I mean, you know what all this is about, right? So we're here exploring your stories, your wild side, your wild former life.
Got some good stories.
You got some good stories? Oh, yeah?
Oh, I'm excited to hear this.
So, like, these good stories, are they from the younger versions, recent, when you were a kid, or what?
I think you're always learning a lesson, right? Everybody that you meet through life, in a way, becomes a part of you. But I've dated a wider range of different people, and I think they've helped me become who I am today. But anyone specific you want to?
Well, I mean, right to the juice of it, like, would you say you have significant relationships in your life? Yeah,
significant relationships, not so much. I don't really believe in the casual sex or the, I think when you meet somebody, if you really care about them, that's more valuable than just fucking around. But I guess it's different in today's society, right? Where we have a little bit different understanding. So.
Pause for a moment. Brief intermission. All right. So you've never really explored like a casual sex and stuff?
I have. That's how I know it doesn't work.
For you?
For me. And I think other people as well. I mean, maybe you think that that's what it is, but human beings weren't meant to casually fuck, right? I think.
Please elaborate.
I mean, that's just the way the human body is made, right?
I mean, it's been my experience that a lot of people have way different beliefs.
That's true, but think about what it's been. Think about the human biology, right? How the woman works, and how her fertility works. How does it work? Really, it's just 1 3-day period where they ovulate, and that's the time that they can conceive. Do you think that's just a coincidence? Or do you think that's by design? I think that's by design, right? If a woman can conceive and she can get pregnant at any time throughout the entire month, throughout the whole year, that creates a different kind of society, right? But no, she doesn't do that. It's like about a 3-day window, maybe 2-day, it depends on the person. And it's by design. It's so that when she starts to have sex with somebody, she has to continue to have sex with them, continue to be with them, to have them in their lives so that at one point they conceive. And I think that's like a biological thing. Used to be a time when there's a bunch of barbarians walking around. They'd come to your village. They rape the shit out of you. Keep going. That was just part of life. Imagine if every single time that happened, the woman got pregnant. It would kind of lead to a different kind of society, wouldn't it? No?
No, yeah, I mean, it would.
I think so.
I mean, yeah.
This is a very different perspective that I've heard.
No, yeah.
So
I
far.
mean, I'm more curious as to like what made you think that way.
Yeah.
Like, did you always think that way, or?
Just seems to make sense. Like, so a man can impregnate a woman at any time. It means that the man is designed to impregnate a woman at any time. And the woman is designed to not be impregnated at any time, to create more of a bond. So sure, guys can go and they can fuck, right? You have an island of 100 women and 1 man, soon you have a thriving island. But if you have 100 men and 1 woman, I think at some point they kill each other, right? More or less. They're not going to share her, I think.
I mean,
At first, they might.
At first they might, but they won't. They'll get possessive and they'll murder each other.
They definitely will.
But if it's the opposite, it's completely different, right?
So, did you always think this way?
I mean, I mean, not when I was younger, but in general, yeah. I mean, that's the perception that I believe. Doesn't that make sense to you? The woman can only conceive a small portion of the month, and the man at any time. Maybe.
I mean, no, it makes sense.
It does make sense. So what
So
made,
it shows you. It
It
shows
makes
you that.
sense. It makes sense in certain settings, right?
Right.
Like I think in today's society, where a lot of survival things are. Yeah, you can go. Don't worry.
No, you're fine.
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah.
Another brief intermission.
Brief intermission.
Yes. Yeah, I think it makes sense in a society that has the need for surviving taken away like that. Where We're all in comfort, where everything's pretty much handed to you, even for most first world countries or whatever. Mentalities change.
Sure, mentalities change, but think about infidelity, right? A man can have a family, a woman, like a wife, children. He loves them. He can go out. He can fuck a bunch of girls, whatever, and he can come back. It's not going to change. It's not going to change his feelings towards his wife. Maybe he didn't have such passionate feelings towards his wife to begin with, but it's not going to change it. Well, if it's a woman, and a woman starts to do that, it's over. That's over. That's just her way of kind of dealing with what is essentially an ended
And
relationship.
why is that over? Why?
What, you don't think so?
No, I mean, I agree with you, but like, why do you think that?
Because they're designed differently. Men and women are designed differently. Women don't have sex to fuck. They have sex to bond.
Yeah.
Men can just have sex to fuck,
right.
for sure, 100%.
So with that being said, have you been unfaithful before or have been cheated on?
I've been unfaithful to other girls, but have I ever been cheated on?
You know?
Yes, I won't know. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't
But
know.
I don't think so. And I think I cut it out before it gets to that point. Once the girl is cheating on you, you should know that that's over. Maybe you're holding on to something that isn't there anymore, but it's over.
Can you
Oh.
tell that something's like happening, that the girl's gonna like do that? Because you said you cut it off.
100%. You can tell. She's completely different emotionally. She's completely different in the way it was attached to you. You can tell she became a different person.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, maybe you're with her for another reason. Maybe there's family. Maybe there's something else. But,
So you said that you cheated before, right? So the girls that you cheated on, like, were any of them significant or?
they were significant. But, I mean, I found over time, I think that sometimes you have opportunities as a guy, right? It's different for a woman, right? Magdalena can go out to the street, raise her hand, be like, who wants to fuck? Everybody's going to raise their hand. I go on the street and I raise my hand, who wants to fuck? And people are going to think I'm creepy. Maybe they'll call the cops. I mean, that's just reality, right? I mean, so it's different. So what I found is, when I was younger, you have an opportunity to cheat on somebody because you just wanted to have a good time, and then you don't do it. You say, I'm going to hold myself back. I'm not going to do that to that person. Well, then eventually when you do break up, you regret it because your opportunities are limited as a man. Well, that's different for a woman. So I don't think they can be treated the same.
Yeah, but what about in your personal life? Like the girls that you cheated on, like did you ever feel guilty about it? Did you whatever? Did you end it up? Like what was, because people cheat for different reasons.
People cheat for different reasons, and people have different definitions of what cheating is. I think people have different definitions of cheating, of what is considered cheating. To me, what's considered cheating is being dishonest. Are you being dishonest with people? And I think it's more apparent here in America when you compare it to like other countries, right? So here in America, you have a man and a woman. They're together. The man goes out, cheats. I guess he has sex with some other girl. He does something that she wouldn't like. The friends are like, no, leave him. Come on, girl, you deserve better. Whatever. Yet in other countries, like in Russia, all these oligarchs, all these guys that have wives, they have families, the girls don't see it that way. Those wives don't see it that way. They say they know that their husband is going out having sex with other girls. They think it's fucking hilarious. Like, oh, you're sucking his dick for free? That's funny. Because I'm here, I got the kids, I got the house, I got the Mercedes. What are you doing it for? You know what I mean? But here, that's not the mentality. The mentality is, one person. You can't cheat. And if you cheat, it's a shameful act. And so then, because it's shameful, we hide it. And we're not truthful with our partners.
And that's cheating.
Yeah, in Russia, all these other Eastern European countries, maybe other where there's different cultures, they don't go back to the wives and be like, yeah, I had sex with that girl with big titties.
Do you think that also has to do with status though? Because like more
100%.
affluent people,
and men are only as loyal as their options, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Well, women can't do that because women have a lot of options.
So you're saying cheating's okay for men, but not for women?
I'm saying being dishonest is not okay.
Okay. So
there's different grades of dishonesty, right?
Right.
For sure. But if you're being dishonest, you know if you're being dishonest. Nobody has to tell you when you're being dishonest.
All right. For simplicity's sense, and let's define cheating as fucking somebody else while you're with somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have you done that before?
I've done that before.
With a significant partner?
With a significant partner.
Okay.
That and meant nothing. Didn't tell her. We moved on with our lives. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Did you feel guilty
Did I feel guilty?
at the time and or later, maybe? Or
I
no?
think the first couple times in my youth, like when I was younger, when I was in college, I did feel guilty because I thought it was something that I shouldn't be doing. Then later on, I realized in the greater scheme of things, it just doesn't matter.
Doesn't it though?
It doesn't matter because
to the person or to you?
To the person
your
and to me. Again, I find you like somebody, you really like them, you're into them, you don't want something else. You just want them. It's not about having a monopoly on the person. It's about having a free market where, the guys have opportunities, but they just don't want to. Because they like what they have at home.
So, would you say you're leaning more towards polyamory or monogamy, or what would you classify yourself as?
I think I'm more of a monogamist than polyamory. Personally, it's a practical thing. Have you ever tried to date multiple women? I have. I dated 3 women at one point, and it's just fucking exhausting. I mean, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It takes a lot of time out of you, and it's not worth it. It's not a good bang for your buck.
Did they know about each other?
No, they didn't know about each other.
Okay,
but I mean,
so-
it's a more you're dating several people, right?
Right.
You're having sex with all of them, but it takes a lot of your time, and I have other interests,
job.
I have other hobbies, I have other aspirations. If I'm putting that much of my time into
3 different flavors.
3 different flavors. I mean, maybe that's for somebody, but that's just not my I'm not an addict that way. It's not my drug of choice. So.
Okay. All right. So it never mattered to you to tell these girls anything about. To you, would you say have you hurt anybody deeply before?
That you know of?
Hurt them in that way? Hurt them by...
Well, I mean, whatever, but romantically.
I mean, I've hurt people romantically, but not cheating. It was never how we get hurt. In my opinion, that's not how I've hurt other people.
So
It's a... What?
My voice correct. How was it? How do you think you hurt people?
It's always hard to disappoint people who are really into you. That hurts more than, it doesn't feel good to be selected. Someone else, you're the second choice, right?
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, like I said, men are, from my experience of knowing other guys, and being with the bros, you're as loyal as your options. Like, I have friends who've been with the same girl for a long time. But are you going to tell me that, the guy who goes out there and he fucking kills himself, he works hard, he works out every day, He goes to his job. He makes money. He sacrifices himself. He feels that pain. You're gonna tell that guy that he can't enjoy the fruits of his labor? That he becomes a successful person. He gains status. He gains money. He gains the things that women value. Now you're gonna tell that guy he should be monogamous? Maybe that's not his interest. Maybe that's not why he does it. And I work in construction. So I see people out there, they do these jobs that I don't know how they do it, honestly. They go out there and they kill themselves. And in my experience, they do it for one of two reasons, right? They do it for their family, or they do it for girls, like just for chicks. They do it for the money, to be able to go out, to get drunk, to buy them stuff. It's their choice, but I think it's one of the greatest like motivators, especially in construction. People go out there, they just, I don't even know how they do it. They're willing to go all out and basically enslave themselves for their family.
Has that ever been your like motivation?
I mean, I felt that that's really not my purpose. I like construction. I like to build stuff. I
mean, like, how at a point in your life, like, did you work really hard because you like maybe
What do you do it for?
You wanted to impress somebody that you were with, get somebody's attention, or like how you call it status?
I think I see a little past that. I don't, I think it comes. I see what you're saying, but that's never been me. I've never been trying to go and make the money or do something or gain the status for a woman. I feel like you go and you get the status, things will come as they go, and just it's not been my biggest motivation. I think God's purpose for me is different, and it's not for pleasure. I think people do find themselves when they don't have a purpose. They dive themselves in pleasure, right? They get into the drugs. They get into sex. They get into that stuff. When they don't feel like they have that purpose, they drown themselves in pleasure. And so is the ultimate purpose of life pleasure? I don't think so. I think it's a greater sensation. I think you really find your true happiness when you find that yourself doing something greater than yourself. That feels better than any carnal feeling.
Okay. Which brings me back to the question, like, I assume you didn't always have this mentality.
The mentality grows, and the mentality is always changing.
And so did your mentality ever, like, significantly change because of, like, a relationship that you had?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the first significant girlfriend I had, like, my very first love, I think at the time, I thought I'd be willing to do whatever to make it work with them. And as time goes by, I realized it's just not as important as finding yourself, doing things for yourself. Because there's people that do, they'll move across countries, they'll move to other states, they'll do crazy things, for their partner. Because there's some people that, there's two kinds of people. There's people who value their career, they value themselves, and then there's people whose true interest. And I've met people like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like, listen, what I want to do is I want to get a good job so I can provide for my family. Because family is the most important thing to them. It's not about the family they come from. It's the family they're creating. And that's what they value.
Okay. So this girl that you were with, that you had your mindset changed. What's the story behind that?
It was my first college girlfriend. My first real love, I think. Finding someone that you think you're going to... It was the first person I ever thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and I would have put her over anything else. And after a while, you realize they're a little bit more replaceable.
Was that just a gradual realization, or did something happen that made you realize?
I think, well, at the time, she moved away. And so then you have to make a decision. Are you going to go with her? You're going to follow her? Or are you going to cut ties? And that's something I think everybody does at some point. There's always a love that moves away. And you have to make a decision. What's more important to you? You want to leave your friends, your family, everything you know for another person. It's kind of like the story of The Little Mermaid. I always tell people, Little Mermaid is my least favorite Disney movie. They should take it off of everything. Little Mermaid is a movie about a woman who leaves her family, her friends, everyone she's ever known, and also gives up her voice for a guy she just met. And that's, to me, that's wild. That's what we're teaching little girls, right? But people do it all the time.
I did it.
You did it?
I did it. I moved to North Carolina for a guy.
You moved to North Carolina for a guy? How did he left? He was there already? What was the situation?
No, well, we moved together. He was moving, so he
Wait,
was
was
like,
he
"Are you
moving
gonna
just for
come with
work?
me?" Yeah.
What was your job?
I worked remote. Well, I didn't at the
You
time,
could.
but my job was like, "Yeah, you can work remote." So I did it, and
how
I'm
did
back.
How did that work out?
How did that work out?
And I'm back.
And you're back. Do you regret it?
No, because he taught me a lot
There you
about
go.
myself. Yep, it was a long time, and for the first year after the breakup, I was angry because, oh my gosh, I wasted all these years. I didn't. Once I realized, and once I looked back and started to see the lessons, it was exactly what was supposed to happen. Because I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. But yeah, it was Little Mermaid.
You were the Little Mermaid.
You were the Little Mermaid.
Wow.
You gave up your family, your friends. At least you didn't give up your voice.
Oh, thank God. I mean, well, that's still debatable. I love to talk. This is surprising. I've been so quiet. No, yeah.
Okay. All right. So then,
So you didn't move.
No mistakes made, right? Only lessons learned.
Exactly.
No, I didn't move. And I
Do
think
you
that,
ever
but not by
wonder-
my decision,
Do
by
you ever-
hers.
oh, so she was the one who went.
Interesting.
She was the one that ended it. Like, nah, not worth it. Oh, wow.
Wait, so you didn't
Lesson
move
learned.
and then she broke up with you because of that?
I mean, she moved.
Is that correct?
We tried to make it kind of work. I
Okay.
guess we, I was in school, so the idea was I finished school and then I move. Well, I mean, we didn't even get to me finish school. I didn't even have that many semesters left, so.
You guys were really young, like 21, 22.
I think we were, right, 21. Yeah.
I don't even know who you are yet.
You don't even know who you are yet. I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was that the only girl you had that you felt like marrying?
I think so. Although now I don't really believe in, marriage. It's more of a liability than an asset, right? Especially for men.
Okay, Andrew Tate.
Well,
I mean, maybe Andrew Tate gets it from me.
I mean, go ahead and touch base on that. Like, so what do you believe in?
Okay, so I mean, I know statistics, right? I know women divorce men 80% of the time. I think men, they want women, when they want women, they want them idealistically, they want them unconditionally, and they want women to grow with them. However, women don't see it that way. Women, when they get to a higher level, what they look for is another man, because women don't marry down. Women marry equal or above. Men don't care. Men don't care about what the girl's money is. They don't care about their status, right?
Like you said, they don't have the option to do so. For the most part.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. But what do you believe?
I believe in, partnership.
Okay. So, like, meaning, so you don't care about signing papers or
I
whatever?
don't care about signing papers. I'll have a wedding. Sounds good. I love weddings. Weddings are the shit. But am I gonna involve the government and sign a marriage license and get into the legalities of what marriage, what we conventionally know as marriage? No, I think that's a waste of time. And I try to dissuade people from doing that. Doesn't dissuade most people.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah. It's fine. So you care more about, like, the ceremonial aspect of the partnership that you're with the woman that you're with?
I care more about a woman wanting to be with me because she wants to be with me, not because I have a monopoly on her, not because I have her controlled. Hey, you can be with anybody you want, but you choose to be with me. But when you marry them, that's not really what you do, right? When you marry someone, what you're basically saying is, I'm selling here.
You're selling her?
Yeah, no. I'm selling here.
Okay.
I'm selling here. This is it. This is the best I can do. I'm gonna lock this down.
Okay.
And I think that creates a perverse incentive, right? So, like, it creates a perverse incentive for men not to care, for men to not not take care of themselves as much as they have because she's locked down. She's the wife.
Oh, you mean like they naturally take it for granted?
They take it for granted. They start to treat her a little bit differently. Now, if she can leave at any time, that's a little bit different.
That is exactly what I say, but for both parties.
For both parties. For both parties.
parties.
It should be a free market. It should be a free market. You decide you want to be with that person. Spend your time with that person. It's not that you have to be with that person because you're in a
sign some paper.
contractual agreement to be with that person. I think that creates a perverse incentive.
Okay. So then what does your ideal relationship look like? Your ideal life partnership?
Someone similar to me, who I can bond with, who has the same interests as I do, who I enjoy spending my time with, who makes me happy, who's my peace. Who's your peace, right? I go to work every day. It's construction. It's just like a war zone all day, every day. You know, you're fighting with this guy, you're fighting with that guy. This guy doesn't want to do this. He wants you to do something else that you don't want to do. And then you want to get home and you want to fight with your girl? Nobody wants to do that. No, you want to get home, you want to find your peace, right? You want to find that person that you can relax with. You don't want to get home and then get to another fight, another battle. That's no way to live.
No, I mean, argument there. Okay, so these relationships that you had, right? I'm curious to see, like, have you made any terrible choices?
I made some terrible choices. I mean, I haven't made terrible choices, but I've learned some lessons, right? So my last relationship, I learned don't date women with kids, right? And it's very simple. You date a woman with a kid, and you gain all the responsibility, but you gain no authority, right? You date a woman with a kid, and you know some of these lessons somebody could watch this podcast and say, and they're not gonna take my word for it. They have to learn it themselves. But what it ends up being is you end up taking responsibility for a child that you bond with that can just be pulled from under your feet at any time. So you gain responsibility, not just a monetary responsibility, but it's your time. You have to take care of the kid, but you don't gain an authority because it's not your kid. You have no authority on the kid. And so that's why that's why guys don't want women that have kids unless they themselves have kids. It's understandable. And I've always heard that, right? You've always understood that. But you don't really learn that lesson until you do it yourself. So there's no mistakes made. There's only lessons learned.
So what was the hardest lesson you learned?
What was the hardest lesson I learned? Wow. Hard to put on the spot. So many little lessons. So many little lessons that add up.
Does one doesn't jump out to you?
I don't think if one jumps out.
This relationship, damn, this one.
See if I can think of what is the greatest lesson I've learned.
I can't think of one for myself.
Can you think of what the greatest lesson you've learned?
Not greatest, but like a lesson you had to fucking go through some shit for.
Now let's see. Lesson you had to.
If one doesn't come to your head.
I'll see if I can pop one come to my mind. But in the meantime, you don't have any great lessons?
For me, yeah. Mm-hmm. I have to get along with the mom.
Oh, you have to get along with the mom. Oh. It's a good one. That's
so important, whether the guy is a mama's boy or not. It doesn't matter. And we've talked about mama's boys on the other podcast. That's a whole different podcast. But you have to get along with the parents, with the mother, especially because a boy-mom relationship is different than a father-daughter relationship. The dad will usually like a girl, a female, especially if he sees that his son's like, yeah, what's up, or whatever. She's like pretty nice, but like the mom, it's a whole different.
That's a good one.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah, I think I've learned that you learn the most from people when they're not getting what they want. Right? That's when you learn the most about somebody. When they don't get what they want. It's easy when they're getting what they want. Everybody's happy. But when they don't get what they want, then you see who they really are.
And a person, you definitely see who somebody is when they get rejected.
Right. They're not getting what they want. Exactly. Yes.
Oh, I love the catcalling. And like, hey, Slim, what's up? And I just walk, well, fuck you then. Oh, okay.
See?
Cool. For sure I'm going to fuck you. For sure after you said that.
They get what they want. I'm telling you.
What the fuck?
That's universal along across everyone's relationships. Try to think about it. You know, any relationship you have, even with your friends, when they don't get what they want, how is their behavior? How are their interactions with you?
So were you always level-headed when you didn't get what you want?
No, I've never been. I haven't always been level-headed. I've gotten into fights over girls. Don't get into fights anymore. But I mean, I've gotten into fights over girls. You know,
Or plural girls, or?
I think I've gotten into multiple fights over different girls, different fights. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You're young, you're full of testosterone, and someone disrespects you, and it's on. I mean, you know.
But like, what happened?
What you gotta do.
So give an example of one of the fights. Like, what happened? Someone disrespected you or the girl or what? Like, what made you pop off?
Let's see. One of the biggest fights. I think I honestly some of them completely my fault, right? Like you hear somebody is betraying your trust.
Well, like trying to fuck your girl or something?
Correct.
Okay.
If someone is your friend, but then
yeah.
they show that they're not your friend.
Oh, hell no.
That they have other priorities. You know, there are other priorities besides the friendship you have with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's messed up. There's a lot of women in the world. For you to go after your own friends is a sense of desperation. It's a personality flaw. And I've gone to somebody's house and be like, hey, bah, right there. Not even like in a setting. I know exactly where you live. Yo, I'm coming over. What are you coming over for? Beat the shit out of you. But that was in the younger days. I don't do that anymore. I'm more calm, more level-headed. But that's happened to me before. True story.
Multiple times?
What, your girlfriend came to you?
Just like that was only once. Only once.
Oh,
But
that's so funny.
other times.
Well,
but like straight up, I'm gonna go to your house and beat the shit out of you. For real?
Wait, but did the girl sleep with him?
Yeah, what happened? Like, did the girl tell you that he was trying?
What happened was I had just broken up with the girl, and like a friend goes, "Hey, I just wanted to see how you felt because I wanted to gauge how you felt. I was thinking about asking her out, and I was like, listen, this isn't. It's not over between me and her. I mean, it's over, but like it's not emotionally over.
Yeah.
I really don't want you to do that. If you value our friendship, I wouldn't do that. I mean, come on, like we've been wingman before. Like we help each other get girls. Like you shouldn't have to do that. And then they do it anyways. You know, and
that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up. So it's like, yeah, it was fucked up to go to his house and we like broke his stove or some shit. But
broke his stove.
Yeah, we were fucking on the floor, like in the shit. So like glass everywhere. Like it was bad. It was bad. Thank God there was like no police call or anything. He just kind of like we just settled it amongst ourselves
because he knew he was fucked.
Paid him for this little stove. I was like, all right, I guess it's my fault.
So like, what level of? Because like he asked you, right? He actually
asked me.
Yeah.
So why ask me?
So like some people think it's okay, right? Because they asked you, right?
Why ask me?
But like you said no, and then
he
still did it. Like that's.
Like, and he still did it. Why ask me then? If you're gonna do whatever you want.
Is he still your friend?
No, he's not my friend. It ends right there, right?
Right. Yeah. So bro code broken.
I mean, jeez.
It's like girl code.
Is that?
We don't fuck the same guys. We don't go after the same guys. Period.
Maybe like with some time. I mean, but it's, yeah.
No, like one of my girlfriends and I just like we would never. We're not scissor sisters or whatever. What is it called? Not scissor sisters. What Eskimo sisters or some
sisters,
shit?
yeah.
Like that's what it's called, right? Yeah. She's like, we're not Eskimo sisters.
I've had the opposite situation.
There's been some guys that I was like, I went on a date with, and I was like, oh, this guy would be like better for my friend. She's like, nope. Went on a date with him. No way. But she's like, even after one date. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's how she is. I mean, and I respect her for that. So I don't, you know what I mean?
I've had the opposite happen to me where I ask a friend, I'm like, is it okay if I move on to this girl? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Has another girlfriend. Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't care. And then I do it, and they get pissed off. Oh. And I was like, oh no.
And
but
they have
it's
a
a little too
girlfriend?
late now. I'm already I'm emotionally involved. Gets pissed off, cut me off from his life completely. And he was my roommate.
That's ridiculous.
Was your roommate?
He was my roommate. I was like, hey, and it was like, it wasn't like a clean cut. It was a girl he dated in high school. I mean, it's a big portion of time between that girl and but still you ask him, and it's
And he said, okay.
yeah, he said it's fine, it's totally okay. I mean, I don't know if he says that because then, it puts him in a liability with the girl if he says no, like the current girlfriend. Like what do you know what I mean? Like what do you say? Maybe I think about that now, but now when at the moment I was like, oh, it's fine, cool, sounds good, right? Because then like if you tell your friend no, it's not okay for you to go to that girl, and you have a different girl as a girlfriend, what are you saying about this girlfriend?
Yeah.
Are you admitting that you still have feelings for a different girl than the one you have?
Which is super fucked up anyway.
It's okay. Later on, we reunite and we're friends now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the one that made me a sweater.
He made you a sweater.
He's part of my fantasy league, and I won and made me a sweater.
Got you. Okay, then.
So, I mean, you don't make, some whoever a sweater. I mean, he has like a little clothing company, made me a custom sweater.
Oh.
Right. He didn't just make a sweater out of nowhere,
That's
but he has
so
a clothing
funny.
company. Like,
He didn't knit it. I'm sorry.
but like he has a clothing company. He has a clothing
fire.
company. He made me a custom sweater. That's pretty nice. That's touching.
That's adorable.
That's so cute.
So we're friends now. It's in the past, but I guess it's like a lesson learned, right? I guess bro code. Yeah, don't even ask.
Don't even ask.
Don't
That's a
even
lesson
ask.
you
You
learned?
just don't.
Don't ask. Don't get involved. If it's your friend.
If you really are friends, you should know the emotional level that
You could still be bonded,
you had, right? That
100%.
the person that they just broke up with.
And that was the
had,
lesson learned.
And right. So you shouldn't even ask. So you should know. So you shouldn't
just
even
know.
ask.
You shouldn't ask, and you should just know. That was the lesson learned.
Limits.
Off limits.
That's like different
And
values.
it's funny because
people don't have these values these days.
I know, and it's funny because we had been, I guess, Eskimo brothers before. It was just like adding, bro, is it cool? And it would be like adding another level to the Eskimo igloo, I guess.
Yeah. So funny.
It is what it is. What happens when you're.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
So it's like, yeah, bro, it's just what it is.
Oh my
God. I guess it's not what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lesson learned.
Okay. So you've had those relationships end, right? Because of breach of bro code.
Breach of bro code.
Breach of bro code.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's on me.
That was on you.
That was on me.
And did somebody ever breach your bro code?
That guy breached my bro code, and then we got in a fight.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the opposite.
Yeah.
I breached the bro code, and if I had the bro code breached on me. And it's important to have both of those happen to you so that you both understand the perspective and, understand.
So you can be in the other person's shoes.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So do you have a relationship that you, because, dating nowadays is it's pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
Right? It's very interesting. And did you ever have any like really bad relationships that were like toxic that it was like tough for you to get away from or navigate?
Yes, but also I haven't had very, very long relationships. I think I cut them off before they get to that point. Longest relationship I've had was 2 years. I think by then...
That's a long time.
That's a long time for me, but, some people have like 7 years. So you just never know. You tell somebody, oh my God, 2 years. And they're like, that's nothing. I think you even get to know them. I'm like, I don't know what you mean. That's like fucking like 500 times.
I agree with you. Past 2 years, you're just staying in it for whatever reasons you tell yourself you're staying in it for.
Right, whatever reasons you're staying, you must be telling yourself that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I don't enjoy hanging out with someone, I honestly rather be by myself. Right?
Okay. But like, all right, so back to this like bad relationship. It was bad in what way? Like I'm talking about like mind games kind of way.
It was bad in the way that they don't respect you. And I think that's important for guys, right? The girl needs to respect you. It's guys need to respect each other also, especially and vice versa. But it's extremely important for the guy to feel respected by the girl. I think more
to feel respected.
To feel respected by the girl, absolutely. It's important to be to feel respected. Like if a man tells you to do something, and maybe he doesn't want to hear you complaining. He doesn't want to hear you fight back. And I'm
Oh my
not saying
God,
do
I'm
something.
getting
I'm not saying it's like
vibes.
I'm not saying it like a misogynistic way, but look, you create a bond with somebody. You create a bond
Yeah.
with somebody. You get to know each other. You get to know each other's likes. You get to know each other's interests, and that person starts to have your interest at heart. And if he tells you to do something, and you might question it, I think deep down it's important for the guy that the girl understands he's looking out for me, and maybe I don't understand what he's trying to tell me or why, but I need to do it. And I'm not saying shut up and start cooking. It's not kind of that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's serious. And so, you start to disrespect them, and you start to fight everything. You start to
like emasculating.
emasculate them. You start to boss them around. Like, come on. Nobody likes that.
There has to be a certain level of trust there.
It's level of trust.
Right.
You gotta trust me. If you don't trust me, what's the point?
But what about vice versa? Like, what if your woman tells you to do something because whatever?
100%, I do it if it's that important. But at the end of the day, in relationships, the man is usually the leader. At least if the man is the man. There are relationships where the woman is the man, and I'm not saying that they're has a dick, but like I've seen them where the woman is the man. She is the leader. The man is just a beta, just not who I am. But I've seen it. The woman is the leader, but there's still a man in the relationship. It just happens to be the woman.
Okay. So, would you what was your childhood like? Were your parents still together to this day, or?
No, so I grew up mostly with my mom and my stepdad, and that was a little bit weird. But at some point, it just kind of became my mom. She just told my stepdad, "Listen, you're not involved in this. This is my thing, and you have your kids, I have my kids." He just began treating his kids different than me, and I guess that was a lesson learned there for when I grew up and started dating a woman with a child. So I grew up mostly by myself. I'm an only child to my mom. I have a half brother, but on my dad's side, who lived with his mom. So it's not, I grew up within, mostly entertaining myself in the confines of my own mind. It shapes you a little differently, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But who was more of an immediate role model in your life as a masculine figure? Was it your stepdad or your?
Not really. I began to lose respect for him, and you had to just kind of. I feel like I just kind of you have to become the man of the house, and I feel in that way that's who I am now. I still take care of my mom, and it's my mom is my responsibility.
But he was your primary caregiver. Like he was the one there at
He
that
was the
time.
one there, right? But it became to a point where I just didn't want to do anything with him. I didn't want to spend any time with him. It was a bad use of my time. I would rather look at the drywall for hours and go on his boat.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
I mean, for real.
The
I mean,
waves.
you have to understand where that mindset is, where I'd rather literally sit there and watch the grass grow than go hang out with this guy.
Did you just not get along?
We just didn't get along.
Just
I mean,
different
it was just
personalities
different.
or something?
Just
It was never about like how he treated your mom or whatever. It was just
no, it's not about how he treated my mom. It's about how he treated me. And I get it from his perspective. It sucks being a stepdaddy, but at the same time, nobody put a gun to his head and said, "Marry my mom," right?
Did you ever feel like any of the relationships that you had, like kind of after reflecting, did it remind you of maybe a parental dynamic like him?
Yeah, so dating the girl with the kid, I was like, I know, I get it. I try to tell people, don't try not to become a stepdaddy. It's not worth it. It's not worth it when it's not your kid. It really isn't. You have no authority, and that's how I felt as a kid too. You have no authority. What are you telling me what to do? What the fuck? You're not gonna tell me what to do. And that's a small child. You're talking about 8, 10 years old. What? That's not my dad. That's not my dad. You know? And my dad was not in the picture. He was in a different country. It wasn't his fault. But you just don't see them the same way.
Did it make
That's
you
what it
think
is.
differently about your stepdad after that experience?
No, it made me understand him. I guess sympathize with him a little bit, but I didn't behave like him just because I learned the lesson from him. Right? You don't want to be if you're treated wrongly. You don't want to continue that treatment to other people.
Okay, so that was like a clean break for you. Like
Clean break.
after that, I was like, okay, no more.
I turned 18 and I said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, you want to go to the local colleges? Nope. You can just go live in the dorm because I'm here from Miami. Go to FIU, UM. Nope. I want to be at least 4 hours away. Let's go.
Okay, so
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go, but it's good. It's good. It's good to go live
that's
your
so
life,
good.
live by yourself, do your own thing.
It's important to leave the nest.
It's important to leave the nest,
Especially
100%,
for-
and that's how you grow, right? That's
all right. So what about flipping it, right? So that like you had a relationship that kind of modeled what you with your stepdad, right? Did you ever kind of get a relationship that kind of reminded you of your mom a bit?
I always think that, right? They say women are attracted to men like their fathers, and men are attracted to women like their mothers. And I think about it all the time. Am I attracted to this girl because she's like my mom? Or am I attracted to this girl because she's similar to me and my mom is similar to me because she's genetically half of me? So yes, it's inevitable, I think. But it's like the Freud thing, right? Are people attracted to people like their parents, or are their parents similar to themselves and people are attracted to people who are similar to themselves? That's why they say your siblings, you're more likely to be friends, not necessarily a guarantee, but you're more likely to be friends and get along with your siblings because they're genetically similar to you. You're more likely to have similar interests. Are you more likely to, I mean, I've done the opposite, right? Like where I dated a girl and I'm like, am I this chick's dad? I'm so like her dad. It's a little bizarre. It's a little freaky, but I always wonder that. What do you think it is? You think people are attracted to?
I'm asking you.
Oh,
I've had my own experience. This is your episode.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I think I don't know. I always wonder if maybe it's a little bit of both. I think at the end of the day, you're attracted to people like yourself. You want to bond with people who have similar interests in you.
Yeah, but all right. So I mean, you still didn't answer the question though. Like, did you ever have a one woman specifically that like, damn, this maybe multiple, whatever.
100%. I had one girl who was exactly like my mom. I mean, my mom is a hipster white lady who loves the meditating and the eating healthy and the plants and stuff. And I found a girl who was just like her in every way. But it didn't work out for other reasons. So I guess no harm, no foul.
Okay. It wasn't like some kind of like weird deep lesson that you felt like you had to go through or whatever.
No, I mean, I think my mom's awesome. If I could find a woman like her, I'd be honored. Right? So it's not like that.
And on the flip side, you said you dated a woman where
Yeah.
questions like, am I your dad? Like,
I dated one girl whose dad was a professional bodybuilder. That was a fascinating experience. And he was just kind of like a dick, but like in a cool, nice way. And the girl would be like, "You're just like my dad." And I'm like, "Is that a compliment?"
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Like, is that a compliment? I have a good story about that girl. So one day I was at her house, and the dad's a professional bodybuilder. Literally a professional bodybuilder. He trains people and he competes in tournaments where he greases up.
Orange guy.
Orange guy. So I was at her house, and he's like, "Hey, can you come over here?" I'm like, "All right, yeah, no problem." And I go to the kitchen, and I don't remember what he was talking to me about. Like, he asked me some question that was obviously a bullshit question just to get me over there. But the point was that he was in the kitchen, he was standing there in nothing but like a purple competition Speedo.
Oh God.
And that's it. And he just starts talking to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, all right. Sounds good. Was he trying to get a reaction out of me? Was this a power move? Was he trying to put something? I think that's always so interesting, how people do these things. Like, there's no need for you to be in a competition Speedo in the middle of your kitchen. Nothing else. Let me shoot
He
you.
was showing you who was boss.
He was showing me who's boss. He's
All
showing
the dads
me.
do it in a different
All
way.
the dads do it in a different way. He did it in that way, and I thought that was so funny. But I didn't react to it. I didn't even mention it. I was just talking about the thing he was talking about.
My friend's dad would have taken a guy to his safe with all the guns. Nice, right? Yeah.
Well, he had some guns.
Different kind of guns, yeah.
Different kind of guns, but it's funny, right? Right? Yeah.
all right. So you talk about power moves and stuff.
That was a power move for sure.
How do you feel? Do any women in your life or multiple, whatever, stand out to you, like in terms of the power moves they try to play?
Interesting. I, I don't know if that. I don't know if
Because
that.
women play power moves.
No, women definitely play their moves.
All the
but,
time.
But I,
Excuse
all the
me.
time, all the time. I always say like everybody's playing their game, right? In every way, like in their social
The
aspects.
games we all play in love.
Oh, the games we all play. But I mean, they do it in construction. They're playing their own games. You have to try to see beyond the bullshit and get to where they really are. Some people are different. They put a little bit more masks before. I've never been somebody to mask myself of who I am, because if you're going to put on a mask and you're going to try to, I guess, show them that you are someone who you're not, but it's someone that you think they're attracted to, well, eventually they're going to find out who you really are and just waste a lot of time. Waste a lot of time. So, I mean, if it's not going to work out, I'd rather work out when I meet them, right? Just be who yourself. Same thing for jobs. Go to the interview. Don't give a fuck. Talk to them as you would talk. Tell them exactly who they're going to get as an employee. And when it comes to relationships, it's very similar. Go on the dates. Be yourself. If they don't like that,
Not for
good.
you.
You needed to know.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Do you have a direct experience with dating somebody with a mask? Or dating manipulative women?
Manipulative women. Aren't they all manipulative?
Hey.
I would hope not.
I feel like I'm being roasted here.
I mean, everybody.
She's cool. She's
She's
cool.
cool. No, I know Magdalena's cool.
Thanks, guys.
But some people try to get you to do things their way, and it's what I say. It's you learn a lot about people when they don't get their way, when they're not happy. Then that's when you learn the most. So I think it's important to stand your ground, see how they react. Maybe you change your mind, but see how they react. Play your own little game.
Did you have to play? It sounds like you're maybe referring to that girl that you mentioned, the one that you were with 2 years, who kind of maybe tried emasculating you or whatever.
So that one never tried to emasculate me, but that one is an interesting one because it's your first love, and I think your first love is different.
Girl?
That was the college girl. That your first love is different. I think and I've had other girlfriends before her, but I didn't really know what it was to fall in love with someone, to really care about somebody like that, to just want to spend all day, every day with them, if you could. That's a different kind of feeling, and it's something that you need to control, right? There are other things in life that are important, but that's your nature. Your nature. I always like to tell people that men have two desires that you love more than anything else. And I think you'll agree, but your number one desire is to conquer. Now, what that means to you is different than what it means to me. For me, to conquer means to build, because I like construction, I like to build stuff. And to me, that is the conquer. That's like my passion. But to other men, the conquer is the woman. It's to conquer. It's the sex. It's to have the the hot girl or maybe hot girls.
Multiple,
Maybe it's women or maybe it's one. Maybe it's the wife. And the number two thing men like to do the most is sit around the campfire or the equivalent of a campfire and hang out with your boys and think of something new. And that's fundamental of everything society. Everything we see around here, this lamp, this wall, is because somebody hung around with another group of men, again, could have been women, but in a sense, and said, I think we've got to do something new so that they could achieve their first desire. We got to go build this building so that we can get money, so that we can conquer in their own way.
Why couldn't it be women?
Could be women.
Okay.
Some women are men.
Just checking. Oh yeah, you did
Some
say that.
women are men.
Okay.
That's just what it is.
I'll give you that.
I've met women who are men. They're men. They say that, have you ever heard the saying like the man is the head of the household and the woman is the neck?
I haven't heard that part.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. And I see it. I see sometimes where like the man is the head of the household, but it's the woman controlling it. I mean, there always has to be some dynamic. There's never two followers, right? There's never two leaders. They crash. There's a leader and a follower. And you can have a symbiosis and you can have a certain relationship where you bring out the best of each other. There's always a leader and there's always a follower. Always.
Yeah.
Always. It's just sometimes it's a woman, sometimes it's a man.
cannot disagree with that.
Yeah.
No argument there. All right. And so that's always been the case in all your power dynamics. You've always been the leader.
I've always been myself, and that's usually how it works. Yeah. I've always been
Well,
myself.
I mean, yeah, but sometimes being yourself in whatever state in your life, right? I mean, people go through different journeys,
100%.
right? You know, not everybody's the leader all the time.
Everybody's the leader.
Sometimes, you know, you got to work through your own shit.
Sometimes you have to defer, to somebody, if it's something that the other person knows more. You gotta,
Have you?
Yeah. What?
Do you? Have you?
Absolutely. You got to defer sometimes. But there is a general power dynamic in the games we play. And even though it might not be 100 to 0%, there's always a majority. There's always somebody who's essentially always the leader. Always somebody who's not making the calls, but who is the person that turns the head, right? The neck. Not the controller. I don't want to say that. I want to say the inspiration. The main person. There's always the main person.
Okay.
No?
Okay.
What about you, Magdalena? Have you been the leader? Are you the leader or the follower?
Oh my
Sometimes
God.
it's different.
I feel put on the spot.
Oh, I'm so tired. I'm glad.
So I've been with an alpha and I've been with a beta.
There we go.
And I adjust accordingly.
And you adjust accordingly.
Because for the good of the relationship or for whatever, if I love the person, if we get along, whatever it is. But I do prefer an alpha male because the beta's always competing with me. And what's funny is the beta never knows that they're the beta. The betas
never
usually
knows.
think they're
Sometimes,
alpha.
even
beta
though
never-
I personally hate this.
Beta
alpha,
never knows that.
I
but you
hate
see
the
it.
alpha beta thing. I also do.
you see
Is
it.
that what you were going to say?
I hate it, and
Yeah.
I do think a lot of self-proclaimed alphas
Exactly.
are betas
They're
themselves.
betas. They're betas themselves, right? They're masquerading as the alpha 100%. Couldn't agree more.
A lot of the times they don't know that they're the beta.
They don't know.
And they love to bark around saying that they're alpha.
I've been a beta in my life.
You don't have to say that you're an alpha when you're
Yeah, exactly.
a true
You
alpha.
don't, the king doesn't need to
The
proclaim this
women
game.
will automatically submit. What? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, people go through different life journeys. So it sounds like you have a fair understanding of power dynamics. Was that learned more through, your work experience or more through relationships or specific relationships?
Definitely the personal experiences. Is it through work experiences? I do think you learn a lot in the professional area of your life. That does apply to other things. But everyone has to learn their own lessons. And the lessons I learn might not be the lessons other people learn.
What about the lessons you learned? No, this is your episode, not
That's
everybody
right.
else's episode.
I'm on the spot.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
two co-hosts, right? So I guess I always want to say I'm the alpha, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm the beta in a different pack. But I don't know. I've always, maybe it's the only child syndrome, and the way I grew up. But
That's an
I've always
interesting way
felt
of,
like right. So I think it's always really interesting. So I talk to coworkers about their families, and I have some coworkers that are interesting. That they have. There's one coworker that has 3 daughters and 1 son, and the 3 daughters are older than the 1 son. Then I have another coworker who's the opposite. He's got 3 sons and 1 daughter, and the 3 sons are older, and the daughter is the youngest. And I think it's so interesting the way those people become completely different people. Completely different people. Your family, how you grow up, it shapes you. Your environment does shape you. We're all products of our environment. Yeah, I mean, genetics take something, but I think your environment takes more. What you grew up in, what your life was like. I grew up by myself. I'm the lone wolf.
So it sounds like, what really shaped you was that kind of childhood experience. That's what does everybody, right? Would you say that was the main thing and you didn't really have other relationships that kind of completely veered you in your direction, your life path?
the thing is, I don't make my relationships the most important thing in my life. I make it my career. It's a personal choice. I don't judge people who make their relationships and their family. It's not my interest to have any children. I feel like God's purpose is something else. So how can I put my relationship first when my interest is not to create my own family, right? It's always been a secondary thing. So I look for partners that are willing to go along with me on the journey, but not necessarily be the most important thing. And it sucks. Sometimes they get second, they're the second priority. But that's not most people. I find most people, like I said, in construction, they'll go out there to do these jobs that I have no idea why anybody would do them. And they do it for their families every day. Jobs they fucking hate. Can't stand them. They do it for the money. They do it to them so that they can raise their kids, so they can take care of their spouse, or so that they can go out and get drunk every night and fuck some new girl. Whatever it is, I don't judge. Whatever makes you happy, whatever rocks your boat.
Is it hard to find people?
So hard. Have you ever tried to find a girl that doesn't want to have kids?
So you don't
very
want
difficult.
You don't want kids.
I don't want kids. It's not for me. It's not my interest. It's not my. I have a brother. He has a kid. I just don't. I feel I can shape more kids in that way, right? Like having a nephew, kid that I can grab and then give back to his parents. That's the best, And I feel like I can shape more than if I just had my own kids. I don't think that I'd be that good of a parent. I don't think I'd have the patience, and it's not my passion. It's not my passion to. It's not what I want to do. I figured that out a long time ago. Hopefully, my mom doesn't watch this podcast because obviously she always wants me to change my mind. But at some point, she's gonna have to face reality of that. I don't live for her.
You still have
I live
time.
for myself. I guess I still have time, right? I guess as a man, you have
Infinite,
basically almost infinite
amount of time.
You could always freeze your sperm, and then I could be 80 and be like, all right. But I don't think so. I don't think it's God's purpose for me. So I'm going to do my thing and see who wants to come along the way.
Okay. So that's a pretty significant deal breaker for you, right?
It's such a deal breaker. Have you ever, it gets hard. You can't be upfront about that. You have to get to know them a little bit and then kind of break the news.
Oh,
but they always think you're lying.
But that's kind of fucked up, though, I think.
You're not going to start out with that on the first date. By the way, I'm not trying to have any kids. Like, the thing is that...
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Because you scare
Because
them
what
away.
if they start liking you and get emotionally involved, and then they think that they can change your mind, just like your mom thinks she can change.
Good, then they have to make a decision.
you will
What's more
change your mind.
important? Is it their offspring or is it me?
Okay,
Some
so you're playing
women-
for
some women-
yourself. Got it.
I play for myself. I
yeah.
look out for my interests. I'm hoping they look out for their interests. But some women want a man to father their kids,
Right.
and some women want a
Partner.
man to go along with them in life. It's hard.
Some women just want children. So
Some women would just want children. Just want children.
That will
And it's
give
about
them,
finding the father of
Yeah.
their kids. That's it. It's not about any other aspirations. It's about let me start my family. I get it. Whatever makes you happy.
I don't.
But you don't get it? No.
No, I haven't had kids because I haven't found the person. But also now it's too late. So I've come to terms with
too
that.
late. It's never too
You
late.
guys. No, but I don't have the patience, like what you were saying. Like, I'm too old for that shit now. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I have girlfriends who are just like, I want to have a kid. And when they
wanna have a
date,
kid.
that's like,
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for
right.
somebody to check off the boxes, right?
not me. I need someone to like be there for me, be a partner to me, hang out with me, want to do things with me. And then if they really wanted kids and if I didn't expire yet, let's be honest, I'm my age, that's coming. No, seriously, like I know where I stand. Like I'm not, you don't have to make it, don't feel bad for me.
I don't feel
ever.
bad. I'm just.
I chose this. No. And so yeah, if they're like, oh my God, I want to have kids, I'll be like, if I can, then I maybe would consider it, depending on like how the relationship was. But like if I still could, but most likely that's not gonna happen, and I'm okay with that. Like I've been okay with it for 6+ years.
That's it. It's not happening?
Yeah.
You're sure? Unless they really pressure you.
Not,
But even then, is that the kind of guy you want? The one that wants to pressure you to do something that you don't want to do?
Exactly my point. Most likely.
Later. Peace.
You know what I mean? Because again, like you said, you don't live for your mom.
I don't know if my mom.
My mom's been asking me for kids years ago. She stopped. She finally stopped. She gets it. I feel bad for her, but like, I'm sorry. It's my life. What am I gonna do? Have a kid and give it to her?
That's a lot of people do that.
Sometimes people do that.
A lot of people do that.
People do that. Yeah.
All the fucking time. Takes a village.
Plus, this body
Takes a
takes
village.
so much work.
I mean, okay.
Yeah,
That's fair. So, I mean,
it's hard.
It sounds like you want a partner that's more of, you want to build other things. You want to explore other things.
I want to build other things. I mean, does it always have to be building other people? There's lots of people building other people.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
I rather. It doesn't mean that I don't want to have an influence on other children or other people growing up. I do. I just think I can have more of an influence on other kids, other people, my friends' kids, my brother's kids, other people who I value, other people who I value their mind. And I think the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. It's not like I'm gonna help out any kid, but I rather just help those kids, help them see things that maybe their parents wouldn't show them.
Okay, so
Help them
No,
grow.
but that's really great though, because and I've told him this before. I have a few friends whose daughters like look up to me. I flattered, and they've opened up to me in ways that they would not open up to their moms, and they've told me things that they would not told their moms, and I've given them advice that I think their moms wouldn't give, but I do think it's good advice because I do have a lot of experience as an adult, and hoping that that'll positively impact their lives, right? One of them is 11 and two of them are in like late teens and early 20s.
Right.
It's awesome.
You impact their lives
Yeah.
without being the primary caregiver. You can be a caregiver without being the primary caregiver.
okay, so on that note, so if there was any romantic advice you could give your former self, what would you give?
A romantic advice that I would give my former self. I
At any
always
stage in your life.
I always say that a lot of times relationships are like investing. The hardest thing to master is when to cut your losses. When to cut your losses. When to say this needs to be over. And I've had a hard time doing that. Sometimes I hold on to them a little bit longer just because I care of them, I value them, but it needed to be over.
Sometimes you just gotta take the defeat.
Same thing with investing. Sometimes I just need to cut my losses and stop the
Gambling.
bleeding.
Yeah, no argument there.
You know what I mean,
Is gambling similar?
I mean, I don't gamble unless you consider the stock market gambling, which it kind of is.
It kind of is.
Kind of.
It kind of is.
Blackjack.
But
Right.
on that note, all right. So it's been great having you, man.
All right. Awesome.
Time goes by quick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How long has it been?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
That was awesome.